I'm soaring, friends. I am Vitaly Portnikov, special representative of the Russian President Kirill Dmitriev. I arrived in Washington not before I became aware of the sanctions of the American administration against the Russian energy giants Rosneft and Lukoil. I will lead by informing the American roots even before the Rada of President Putin. Now the Russian Ochilnik was talking about testing a new rocket. All of Dmitriev's information, absolutely scientifically illusory, is taken away by you, Putin, in your bags and Trump. Escalation and slackening lines. Moreover, for the President of Russia, it is obvious that on Dmitriev I am behind the scenes of his planting with eating Americans, with profitable economical projects from the Russian Federation. At that place, talking about trying out a rocket from a nuclear dump and about the miraculous sustain of the Russian economy. Testing as a knowledge is not a single crock of Putin. I'm Maya to demonstrate his resiliency. There was a testing of ballistic missiles potentially, as if with a nuclear discharge of a Yars rocket. Moreover, the rocket fell into the test site in Kamchatka, from the middle to the near to the cordons from the received states. And supposedly we are, of course, not horseshoes. That's what, in principle, is still not enough. Trump is led away by Putin not yet ready to accept his mines, even before the Pripa is on fire on the Russian-Ukrainian front. And not to tank will end the war in the situation of the American president. He was vaccinated with propane by the mayor, and given 1,000 for the Russian president. For the rights of sanctions against Rosneft and Lukoil. Sitichi hiking Krok administration. Trump already, and even for a sprat, is Putin's reaction to those sanctions. I am Trump himself, obviously, and I am still Putin, not a yak in buckets and breathe in your positions. The American president will continue the sanctions claim, and I will also think about a new mechanism on the Vikova Ukraine. Yak for the help of the European members of NATO, and for the fate of the most experienced in the state. There are also, but crucial decisions in times ignore Trump, and not to the ears, to his proposition. And we are all, of course, the crop of the American president, and the girlfriend, without overestimating his greedy chances. Opened and Marina the Nobel Prize to the mayor at Zhovny 2026. Well, and a generously important point is that the Republicans' positions on Maybutnyak were weakened before the elections. And it is important that they speak for Ukraine and are deeply negatively put up to Putin's dictatorial regime. And aggressive Russia like this, it is known. I still adore the whole situation, and Trump loves control over Congress, you just can't. Putin has seen his check on the new skin crock on the side of Trump and the entrance. The demonstration that I am not up to the act of hell in the Pocky in May will demonstrate readiness to further escalation. Dmitriev's words about testing ballistic missiles from nuclear. But with Tilka Pershim and Krok and Putin, even before Trump's Zelyakovany. As it is known, you do not extract there yet, respecting and saving the largest nuclear power from the participant retinue. Drag on the rich, stable economy of the niche economy of the Russian Federation, the nuclear potential in the civilization of praise. Trump is known to praise and visits. Putin will think he can still earn concrete about slurring Trump's words. It's still in those situations, and, one might say, the roles change. Previously, Trump and Putin TPR. Trump and Putin is talking. With such a rank, in order to get to the American president, his claim to Russian positions is not up to the greedy men of the Russian president. Putin will need crocs so much. For example, Bilsh intensively works against Ukraine with everything that can be said about the Ukrainian infrastructure. And then it was not so richly heard. The scale of the blame on the territory of the European members of NATO. For reconnaissance drones, I have already batched, and the Windward 1 simply has shock drones. The Yaks will strike at NATO military facilities with a pretext, even those objects are being cut out. For Vyskova, Ukraine is still loaded by the Russian Federation itself. Tesh is an offensive crock on the topic straight. Well, one crock of Putin, I am still Trump, do not extract the scale of the conflict. The average blow of the Russian Federation on one of the temple objects from the received states. From the view of the visible reaction from the received states to the say blow. The average blow from the received states on the temple object of the Russian Federation. And 3 words and a third of holy wine. I'm also an add-on from the nuclear component. I have also deployed and strategically dropped 2 nuclear weapons in Ukraine. An extremely maximalistic scenario. The fact that he is insured for the fact that no one is extracted, not Trump, not Putin. In the situation in which we are, Trump is not richly below Putin. The fact that his power and a richly strong one pulled out allies from the lost sprat, ready to fight and reason for America. In that hour, yak Russia and I will not fight with reason I know. And they gave the Russian on so and I would say, a forged development by a real fit in the fire on the Russian-Ukrainian front. Chances for what? In such situations, serious confrontations in the scaling of guilt up to 20 Persh, not caught on Tilka. And the 20th old man. And so it may be the result of a new atmosphere of confrontation between Moscow and Washington, and Putin's adoration of the sunsets of Americans. Dyakuyu. Finish on the topic of the channel, subscribe to it, subscribe to social channels in Patreon Coffee. And Donatello helps to develop these resources, the sponsorship function in YouTube itself.